Top 10 Fastest Sedans by Acceleration in 2026. Number 10. 2026 Bentley Flying Spur Speed. Bentley didn't electrify the Flying Spur to save fuel. They did it to move a mansion like a missile. The ultra-performance hybrid pairs a 4-liter twin-turbo 8-cylinder with a transmission-mounted e-motor and a big 25.9 kilowatt-hour battery for a combined 771 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of torque, fed to all 4 wheels through an 8-speed dual-clutch and active all-wheel drive. Officially, Bentley quotes a low 3-second sprint to 60 miles per hour, and many specs list about 3.5 seconds. Independent instrumented tests have seen it hit 60 in roughly 3.3 seconds and a quarter in the low 11s, numbers that would have sounded like supercar fantasy a decade ago. What makes it so brutal is how the systems layer in. The e-motor erases turbo lag. Then the 8-cylinder piles on rear-wheel steering, torque vectoring all-wheel drive, active anti-roll bars, and an electronic limited-slip diff keep nearly 3 tons flat enough to go full throttle earlier than your brain expects. Inside, it's a private lounge on fast forward. The Bentley rotating display, 3D quilted leather, insane wood options, and available name audio turn every launch into a VIP event. For 2026, a Flying Spur Speed Ultra Performance Hybrid, stickers from roughly $276,000 in the US, before options. We're starting this list with nearly 800 horsepower. But don't get comfortable. The final car makes over 1,000 horsepower in overboost and uses a 2-speed rear gearbox to hit 60 in the blink of an eye. That one alone is worth watching to the end. Number 9. 2026 BMW M5 G90. BMW's new G90 M5 is a plug-in hybrid the way a sledgehammer is a tool. Under the hood sits a 4.4-liter twin-turbo S68 8-cylinder teamed with a transmission-integrated e-motor for a combined 717 horsepower and 738 pound-feet sent through an 8-speed M Steptronic and rear-biased MX drive. BMW's official claim is 0 to 60 in about 3.4 seconds, but independent testing has already seen flat 3.0-second launches, and that's with a full-weight 4-door sedan. The trick is how the e-motor multiplies torque before the gearbox even starts working. A patented pre-gearing stage boosts its torque at the transmission input, filling every gap as the 8-cylinder builds boost. Intelligent cooling circuits for the engine, motor, and high-voltage battery are tuned so you can run launch control more than once without watching times fall off a cliff. Adaptive M suspension and rear axle steering help this big sedan pivot like something smaller when you're flat out of a corner. Cabin vibes. Tech bunker with menace. The BMW curved display running iDrive 8.5, an available M carbon roof, Bowers & Wilkins audio, and thick bolstered seats makes it feel like a business class pod that just happens to nuke 0 to 60. For 2026, the M5 starts at around $123,000 in the US before options. Think it can't get much crazier than this, but the next car hits 60 in a way that genuinely doesn't match its cylinder count. Number 8. 2026 Mercedes-AMG C63 SE Performance. On paper, it's just a 2-liter 4-cylinder. In reality, it's F1 homework turned into a street weapon. The C63 SE Performance uses AMG's M139L 2-liter Turbo 4 with an electronically assisted exhaust gas turbo and adds a 150 kilowatt rear axle motor with its own 2-speed gearbox for a combined 671 horsepower and 752 pound-feet. Mercedes quotes 0 to 60 in about 3.3 seconds. But early tests and projections land it around the 3-second flat mark when conditions are right. The launch recipe is all about torque stacking. Preload race start, The rear E-motor shoves instantly while the electric turbo is already spinning up to roughly 175,000 RPM, killing lag before the first upshift. 4MATIC Plus shuffles torque front and rear, and an electronically controlled rear diff plus rear axle steering help this compact sedan put down power like something far wider and lower. The small 6.1 kilowatt-hour battery isn't about road trip range. It's built for rapid discharge and fast recuperation, so hard launches stay consistent. Inside, think shrunken S-Class with track menus, twin 11.9 and 12.3-inch M-Bucks displays with AMG track pace, AMG performance seats, and available Burmester 3D audio. For 2025-2026, the C63 SE Performance sedan starts at around $86,000 in the US before options. If you're into this kind of brutal 0 to 60 performance and you want more breakdowns like this, consider subscribing. I got a lot of insane 2026 builds lined up that you don't want to miss. Number 7. 2026 Audi RS7 Performance. The RS7 Performance looks like an executive fastback, but its numbers say problem for supercars. Audi drops a 4-liter twin-turbo 8-cylinder, making 621 horsepower and 627 pound-feet under the hood, matched to an 8-speed Tiptronic and Quattro all-wheel drive. Audi's official line for the 2026 RS7 Performance is about 3.3 seconds to 60 miles per hour. Independent tests have already seen launches dip into the high 2s, around 2.9 seconds, when surface and rollout cooperate. What keeps the shove coming is the traction hardware. A self-locking center diff and an RS-specific rear diff push torque to whichever wheel can use it, while RS-tuned air suspension manages squat so you can flatten the throttle earlier than feels polite. Lightweight 22-inch wheels and optional carbon ceramic brakes drop unsprung mass and shrug off repeated high-speed stops. In the cabin, it's a tech cocoon with a mean streak. Audi Virtual Cockpit Plus, dual MMI touchscreens, RS sport seats and Valcona leather with available ventilation and massage, plus Bang & Olufsen 3D sound. It's the kind of car that can demolish a back road, then quietly cruise home. For 2026, expect the RS7 Performance to start at around $128,000 to $130,000 in the US, depending on spec. If you like big, brutal fastbacks, that one's hard to beat. But the next sedan trades size for something even more dangerous: weight loss and razor-sharp response. Number 6. 2025 BMW M3 CS. BMW's M3 CS proves you don't need a hybrid to play in supercar territory. The 3-liter twin-turbo S58 inline-6 is turned up to 543 horsepower and 479 pound-feet, sending power through an 8-speed M-Steptronic and rear-biased MX drive. BMW's claim is 0 to 60 in about 3.2 seconds, but Car and Driver has launched it to 60 in just 2.7 seconds and cleared the quarter in 10.7 at 129 miles per hour. Insane figures for a 4-door with a trunk. The CS feels so ferocious because BMW trims the fat and sharpens the response everywhere. Stiffer engine mounts tie the powertrain more directly into the chassis, while model-specific springs, dampers, and anti-roll bars keep the body under you when you go full throttle early. A carbon hood, roof, console, aero pieces, and M carbon bucket seats slice roughly 75 pounds. Optional ceramic brakes drop even more. Inside, it's focused without being stripped. The curved display with head-up display, M-Drive Professional with lap timers and drift analyzer, and those deep carbon buckets turn every on-ramp into a mini track session. For the final years of this generation, the M3 CS runs limited numbers with pricing in the $120,000 plus range when new in the US. That's the car you take to a track day. Number 5 is the one you take to a business meeting and still gap supercars on the way there. Number 5, 2026 Mercedes-AMG S63E Performance. A 17-foot luxury limo shouldn't be available to leave like this, but the S63E Performance does. Under the skin is a 4-liter twin-turbo 8-cylinder paired with a 188-horsepower rear axle motor and a high-performance battery for a combined 791 horsepower and 1,055 pound-feet. AMG's quick reference guide lists 0 to 60 in about 3.3 seconds. Car and Driver has seen 60 in a staggering 2.6 seconds and a 10.8 second quarter mile at 129 miles per hour. The reason it feels so ruthless is repeatability. The 13.1 kilowatt-hour battery is tuned for power bursts and rapid recuperation, not bragging rights EV range. So the rear motor hits hard launch after launch. AMG Ride Control Plus air suspension, active roll stabilization, and rear axle steering keep pitch and squat in check, letting all-wheel drive turn torque into clean forward motion instead of drama. Inside, it's closer to a private jet than a sedan. A 12.8-inch OLED center display, 12.3-inch 3D cluster, Burmester 3D audio with Dolby Atmos, massaging multi-contour seats, and executive rear packages with neck heating and folding tables. For 2025-2026, the AMG S63E Performance carries an MSRP of about $186,200 before you start ticking options. I know some of you are already arguing about this order in your head. Don't keep it there. Tell me in the comments which car I ranked too low and which one doesn't even deserve to be here. Number 4. 2026 BMW M8 Competition Gran Coupe. The M8 Competition Gran Coupe is BMW's idea of subtle overkill. 4 doors, a big trunk, and the heart of a supercar. Under the hood lives a 4.4-liter twin-power turbo 8-cylinder, pushing 617 horsepower and 553 pound-feet through an 8-speed M-Steptronic and switchable M xDrive that can even send everything to the rear axle in two-wheel drive mode. Officially, BMW quotes about 3 seconds 0 to 60. Car and Driver has logged Gran Coupes as quick as 2.5 seconds with the right launch. What makes it so devastating is how calmly it does it. Launch control and drive logic fire a series of crisp, short shifts, while the all-wheel drive system feeds torque forward just long enough to hook, then hands it back to the rear for that classic M feel. Massive brakes, carbon ceramic if you spec them, and sticky staggered tires let you repeat hard launches and high-speed stops without fade. The cabin is a driver's lounge, merino leather M Sport seats, Alcantara headliner, ambient lighting, 4-zone climate control, and a 12.3-inch central display backed by a full digital cluster. You can daily it, take clients to dinner, and then gap sports cars on the way home. For 2025-2026, the M8 Competition Gran Coupe starts around $140,000 in the US. That was the discreet assassin of the list. The car at number 3 is what you buy when you want everyone to know something ridiculous is about to happen. Number 3, 2026 Mercedes-AMG GT63 SE Performance. If you want the wildest four-door AMG that still has a trunk, this is it. The GT63 SE Performance four-door coupe uses a handcrafted 4-liter bi-turbo 8-cylinder up front and a 150-kilowatt motor with a 2-speed gearbox at the rear axle for a combined 831 horsepower and 1,032 pound-feet of torque. Mercedes lists 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds for the 2026 model. Independent testing from outlets like Car and Driver has seen hybrid GT63s rip to 60 in the mid-2s and crush the quarter in about 10.5 seconds. The hit feels endless because the rear motor fills every boost dip and keeps shoving as the 9-speed MCT bangs through ratios. AMG Ride Control Plus with adaptive damping, rear axle steering, and big carbon ceramic brakes keep more than 5,200 pounds stable at speeds that should feel sketchy. The high-performance battery is tuned exactly like AMG's F1 tech. Quick discharge, rapid recuperation, maximum repeatability. Inside, it's a Sportlux cockpit with room for 4, 5 optional. Twin 12.3-inch displays with AMG graphics, aggressively bolstered seats, and an arsenal of drive modes. For 2026 in the US, the GT63 SE Performance 4-door starts around $200,500. If you would happily stop this list right here and call it a day, hold on. The next one exists to prove there's still another level above this. Number 2, 2026 Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid. Porsche's Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid is what happens when a family sedan borrows race car tricks. Under the hood is a 4-liter twin-turbo 8-cylinder working with a 140-kilowatt E-motor inside the 8-speed PDK for a combined 771 horsepower and 737 pound-feet. Official figures list 0 to 60 in about 2.8 seconds and a 202-mile-per-hour top speed. Car and Driver testing has seen launches as quick as 2.5 seconds and quarter-mile runs in the low 10s. Because the E-motor sits in the gearbox, its instant torque gets multiplied by the lower gears instead of fading out. Porsche Active Ride and all-wheel drive keep the body flat and the contact patch is loaded, so you can go full throttle shockingly early out of corners. The sizable 25.9 kilowatt-hour battery isn't just for EV commuting. It's there so you can do multiple full power runs without watching the car go soft. Standard Porsche ceramic composite brakes with giant 440mm front rotors make sure the stopping power matches the hit. Inside, the latest Panamera uses Porsche's driver experience layout with a 12.3-inch center screen, optional 10.9-inch passenger display, and subtle turbonite trim that quietly signals you bought the top dog. In the US, the Turbo SE Hybrid starts at around $228,500. If you're still watching right now, you're part of the tiny group that actually makes it to the end, and you're about to be rewarded. The final car doesn't just win the list, it rewrites what a sedan can do to your sense of speed. Number 1, 2026 Porsche Taycan Turbo GT. At the top of this list is a sedan that bends the stopwatch. The Taycan Turbo GT uses dual permanent magnet motors, a 97 kilowatt-hour battery, and an 800-volt architecture to unleash up to 1,019 horsepower and overboost. Porsche officially quotes 0 to 60 in about 2.2 seconds, 2.1 with the Wasage package. But independent testing has done even better. Motor Trend recorded 1.89 9 seconds with rollout, and Car and Driver calls it their quickest 0 to 60 car ever. The secret is how the rear 2-speed gearbox and power electronics manage the hit. First gear multiplies torque off the line. Then the car shifts into second while still accelerating hard, so the shove never really tapers like a single-speed EV. The cooling system and high current charging hardware mean you can launch, recharge fast, and go again. This thing also set new benchmarks in fast charging tests. Inside, it's Race Lab meets Lounge, curved 16.8-inch driver display, 10.9-inch center screen, available passenger display, and lightweight race text buckets if you go full Weissach. In the US, the Taycan Turbo GT starts at around $231,995 to $239,400, depending on configuration. End of the road. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.